Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. This is a kind of ironic checkout for week 6, our final week. And just as the theme of so many of you had spent so much of the time during this course traveling and unable to participate as fully as you would have liked, I'm on my way to Seattle from Halifax, and I'm checking out from the airplane. So we'll see if we can actually hear. But I just wanted to give some of my final reflections. So I think just some of the things that I've noticed and learned in the engagement that I've been able to have with you all over the last 6 weeks is that you are all working in the context of some very real and pressing systemic realities. So there is a decrease in resources that's coming to your organization based on the changing attitudes of government and the changing legislations towards faith-based organizations, which also likely reflect changing attitudes in society. While at the same time, the need for the work that you do is increasing all the time, and that's very much related to the economic divide, growing numbers of people who are experiencing poverty and marginalization in society, and also people who are feeling very in that spiritual divide, that sense of lack of meaning and just the overwhelm of the modern world, and so that you're offering something that's really, really needed on multiple fronts, and so that creates a huge squeeze, and this sense of kind of trying to do more with less is a backdrop to everything that's going on, including, I think, people's ability to participate fully in this course. There's also a sense, really, that you're caught in this, for many of you, or those of you that I interacted with, you're caught between this kind of army hierarchy and this kind of grassroots engagement paradigm, which is also a kind of a shift and a polarity that's very much at play in the broader society. And so we kind of see those social forces as really playing out in your work and becoming aware of them. Things that really resonated with me, particularly in my engagement with you from the 6 weeks, were just that need to become more aware of the backdrops that are influencing us and the influence that they're having, that often we can personalize things that are very systemic, and it gives us a little bit of space to recognize that it's not us, it's kind of in the water. That when we're trying to solve a problem and we're thinking about systems thinking, it's really helpful to zoom out. We're often looking at it from a really narrow frame, and a lot of the causes are outside of that narrow frame, and a lot of the opportunity for influence is outside of that narrow frame. So just to kind of zoom out and see what is influencing this situation. And yeah, we might have a big impact by identifying and addressing some of the hidden issues, some of the hidden causes. In terms of the kind of Lewis method work, just talking about including people in decision making and really making space for the voices, I think that feels like it resonates with your natural leadership a lot anyway for many of you. But I heard over and over again just recognizing the power of what it means when people feel heard. That they may not end up getting what they want, but if they feel like they were genuinely listened to, if they were genuinely listened to, that shift can happen and that the kind of change can be more smooth. That we could look at the deeper causes of things in terms of the leverage points, and that if we focus on the mindset or the attitude or the kind of unconscious beliefs that we have in our systems and the structures that emanate out of that, that's a very potent place to put our efforts, and that can have make a big difference in terms of not just being busy all the time running after the symptoms, but getting at the root cause level. And I think there was some really great conversations about vis-a-vis systems mapping and thinking about things as systems, is that we we've been trained in our Western mindset often to think of things as being linear, but actually they're often cyclical. And as we start to become aware again of the cycles that things move in and the loops that they're in, we can address persistent issues by kind of shifting those cycles from being kind of vicious and building up negative consequences to being virtuous and building up positive consequences. But it's kind of becoming aware of that these things are cycles, and what creates the kind of positive outcomes and what creates the negative outcomes. And I think just this thing about differences are part of society, they're part of our teams, they're part of the field. And if we ignore the differences, we try to paper over them, we try to suppress the conflict, it usually just grows and becomes more intense and more toxic. But if we can look at it together, either in a rational way with a polarity map or in more of an emotional way with the conflict resolution process that we learned, it brings new insights, and it often brings a really rich and deepened sense of connection and togetherness. So I hope this has been a useful experience for you. It's been very lovely for me to reconnect with the material and connect with those of you that I got to connect with. I felt that it was a real privilege. The times that we were learning together, it was really delightful. All of the homework is going to be due at the end of the course. And if you have any questions or there's still things you're not quite getting, please reach out and connect with me. I'm not having any office hours tomorrow because I'm traveling and teaching, but I'll make myself available. And I would just say, like, in terms of the format of the course, I know that there's frustration with the kind of chunkiness of the weeks rather than seeing it as a whole package that you could kind of do at your own pace. I found the times, the World Cafe and the time that people made it to my office hours were incredibly rich conversations. And so for me, I'd like to see more of that kind of face-to-face, voice-to-voice. And I know for others, there's a real sense of it's been too long since you've been in a room together, that more of that kind of in-person learning would be really powerful. And I would agree with that. Obviously, scheduling needs to be more intentional and longer term. And I think that's partly just in the way that the course was formatted, but it's also, I want to take responsibility that I, in my learning curve, wasn't quite sure how everything worked and didn't get things ahead of time. So I apologize, and I don't know if I'll see you again, but I hope to, and I wish you many blessings and efficacy in the very important and good work that you're doing. Have a wonderful day, and please post your reflections. We had a checkout at the beginning. It was great to hear from all of you, meet you, and hear about your aspirations. And this is a real time to kind of feed back to each other. What are your learnings? So please post your checkout in this section, and I look forward to hearing and continuing the learning. All right, have a great day.